Hey, good afternoon. As we continue in our kind of this experience of joining Jesus in the garden, we're on hour number 9 of our hourly 5 minute kind of spots here. And we left Jesus is in the garden. He has prayed. An angel came and strengthened him. And now we see the response to that in verse 44. It says, He prayed more fervently. And he was in such agony of spirit that his sweat fell to the ground like great drops of blood. Now, I know there's a lot of discussion about whether it was sweat that looked like blood or was Jesus under such anguish that he was literally bleeding. There is a medical term, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it, where the capillaries under great stress, under a lot of duress, the capillaries in your face, forehead can start to enlarge, they gorge and they break, and then you bleed out. Or was Luke writing here that it was visible to those that were watching Jesus pray because they were just a stone's throw away, that he was really sweating to the point where it looked like he was bleeding. If you've ever cut your head, it doesn't take much of a cut on your head to really bleed a lot. So, was this just a picture of Jesus was literally in a place of anguish where his capillaries were breaking and he was bleeding, or was he just sweating? Either way, I've never experienced this. I've never been under that type of agony, duress, stress, pressure to where really in any condition have I ever experienced that. But he's praying in a place and he's praying more fervently. The strength that the angel brought him when he submitted, not my will, but yours, that he was going to follow God's will through, understanding what was coming for him. He receives this strength and then prays more fervently. And I think if that was me, maybe you, if I had that type of strength, I might have tried to get out. I might have tried to run, leave, use that physical strength that I was being drained of because of just the agony of the situation. But he doesn't. Jesus' response to the strength was he prayed more fervently, more passionately, more vigorously, more seriously, more earnestly. That word can be translated a couple different ways, but he prayed harder in this time, knowing that he was submitting to the will. But he didn't run from God. And I think sometimes that's our response when things get extremely tough by our standards is to run from God because we feel like he's left us. Jesus stays right there and actually prays even harder, which is a great example for us when we're under stress. And I'm not sure any of us have ever experienced stress to this level. So I don't even want to try to figure out what that would be like, or we just know that we've not experienced that level. The anguish, the weight of what Jesus was bearing in that moment was enough that his body was either sweating profusely or he had capillaries breaking and he was bleeding from his head under these conditions. He knew what was coming. What humbles me and hurts, I guess it even convicts, is what caused that was my sin and yours, our rebellion, our disregard of God's way, of his standard, of his word, at times where we just walk away from it. He bore the brunt of God's wrath in our place, and it was heavy and it was hard on him. And this was real. This isn't some imaginary story. It's not a fairy tale, not some Hallmark movie that's going to have just a happy ending after some, emotional stress. But this was a human being who was experiencing this level of stress for you and for me. Motivated and driven, initiated by love. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. He gave us Jesus to die in our place. I don't want to go further than that. I think we just need to sit there for a little while and just kind of focus on what he did and how heavy it was on him. And it was his heart, his love for you and me that brought him there. I'll see you guys in an hour. We'll continue our study here. Thanks.